Hi, Terry here, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 6 of Times Gone Tech. Well, today, let me put it this way. Today is the big day. Now, if you've been watching, you know what this is about, but if you haven't been watching the last couple of videos, here's what's going on with this. Question came up, how long can a flintlock be kept loaded and you can still expect it to shoot? Now, with most other guns, even with a lot of cap locks, that's kind of a no-brainer, but flintlocks are a little bit of a special case. So I don't really know because I've never kept one loaded. I always took it to the range empty, loaded it, shot it. When I was done, took it home empty, cleaned it out and put it up. So I got my heavy Dragoon out, going on about 8 days ago today, loaded it up, and I've been carrying it around with me everywhere that I could carry it, like not inside a bank, duh. But anywhere else where I could take it, I've been actually carrying it around with me, going for walks around the neighborhood, out in the backyard, doing yard work, whatever. It has not been laying on a shelf inside the house in a humidity controlled environment. It's been out in the weather for about a week. Now I've loaded it with 60 grains of my Terry's own homemade double F black powder, a .610-inch lead ball. This is a 62 caliber, and then some paper wadding stuff down on top of it to hold it in, and just to make sure that it didn't fall out. And you can see where it ends on the barrel. Everywhere from the ram down is powder, ball, and paper. So it's still loaded. I have not checked the flash pan. I haven't actually done anything to it except carry it. And today I'm going to shoot it off at that target and see what it does. Now, here's the problem with a flintlock. Unlike a lot of other guns, when you pull the trigger on a flintlock, one of four things can happen. Probably will happen. One, it does what it's supposed to do. The cock, this is not a hammer, it's the cock, drops, hits the frizzen, pushes the frizzen open, exposing the powder primer pan and generating sparks which fall into the pan, igniting the powder, which then burns through the touch hole, ignites the main charge, and boom. That's what's supposed to happen. And most of the time, that is what does happen. Flintlocks are actually more reliable than they get credit for. They're actually pretty good, especially if you know how to load them correctly. Another thing that can happen, though, is the cock can strike the frizzen, pushing it open, generating sparks. The powder in the pan can burn, and then you think nothing's going to happen, and a second or two later, then the main charge goes off. Boom! And that's called a hang fire or a delay fire. And generally, it will be a split second, half second, 1 second delay there, which can cause you to miss the target. You can flinch and miss the target, and that's generally not the bad thing that's going to happen to that. The third thing that can happen is pretty much the same thing. Cock strikes the frizzen, pushes the frizzen open, exposing the powder pan, generates sparks. Sparks go into the pan powder in the pan burns, whoosh, and then nothing else happens. And that's called a flash in the pan. And yes, that is exactly where that saying came from, flash in the pan. And that can happen, especially if you don't clean the touch hole out in between every shot with repeated shots. That can happen with a flintlock. And then finally, the fourth thing that can happen, and actually there's still kind of two parts to this. One is that the flint has worn down, or it's moved, or it's loose. It doesn't even hit the frizzen and strike it open and nothing happens. Or it pushes the frizzen open but doesn't generate any sparks, and again, nothing happens. And the thing is, you never really know when you shoot a flintlock which one of those four things is going to happen. Usually it's the first one, but not always. And especially since I haven't even had the powder pan open on this yet, I don't know if the powder is still in the pan. This has been primed with some of my Terry's own triple F powder, by the way. And yeah, I haven't even looked at it. I've just been carrying this thing around for a week. So let's try it and find out. First, I got to get my ears in. And then I'm going to move this. Okay, 1738 Heavy Dragoon, 62 caliber, been carried for a week. Let's see if it shoots. And no. The powder in the pan, it's still there, did not ignite. I'm going to try it again. If that doesn't work, then I'll clean the touch hole out, put some fresh powder in the pan. Take two. Well, I got to cock it first. Okay, take two. Nope. Okay. Let me clean it out, put some fresh powder in the pan, and we'll try it then. So now we know what's generally going to happen if you carry a flintlock around outside loaded for a week. Now, question now is, if I put some fresh powder in the pan and clean the touch hole out, then will it shoot? I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Got my powder horn. Let's reprime with fresh powder. And you might be wondering, well, Terry, what are you going to do if this thing doesn't shoot at all? Well, in that event, I'm not real worried about it because I do have a ball puller and I did not much, but a little. And it's just sitting down in there. That's why I use the paper wadding to hold it into place. So I could pull a ball out if I need to. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, now that time it didn't spark. Why? Flash in the pan. Okay, back again. So I cleaned out the touch hole with a nipple pick, and then I used some 4F in the pan this time, and I used the pick to push some of that 4F into the touch hole. So let's see if that works any better. And there was a classic example of a hang fire. So, question, how long can you keep a flintlock loaded and it still shoot? Well, this one shot after a week, 8 days, and that was after cleaning the touch hole out, putting some fresh powder in the pan, and then I had some trouble striking a spark. I think this flint might be worn out. Didn't think I shot it that much, but I might have. So yeah, you'd want to make sure you have a new flint. So anyway, I'm going to break this thing down, clean it up really good, put it back on the shelf. So if you're thinking about buying a flintlock, you've never had one before, and you're wondering, well, how long can I keep the thing loaded? You probably don't want to keep it loaded. When you're out hunting, especially if it's a humid or a wet day, probably change the powder in the pan every couple hours maybe. And if you're at the range, take it out empty, shoot it all you want, then take it home empty, clean it, put it up on the shelf empty. That would be my advice. If, however, you forget and you find out, oh crap, I got this thing loaded for about a week or so. Yeah, it'll shoot. Just clean it up, put some fresh powder in the pan, clean out the touch hole, and yeah, it should shoot. So, okay, thanks for watching. If you have already subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, then please do so. Keeps videos like this coming, and hope to see you next time.